Hello, welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for September 18th, 2018. I'm your host, Gary Smith, and on today's show, we're going to talk to Coach Dunn about this past weekend's road victory at Shippensburg, and then we're going to break down everything in the PSAC, and then we're going to look at this upcoming week's opponent, the Edinboro Fighting Scots. But first, Coach, I had a big smile on your face, and I can think, I'm going to deduce there's two reasons: big win on the road and last road game for a while.
Yeah,
so two big smiles.
Exactly. Really happy with our guys. They played extremely well, and then obviously a chance to come back and play at Adamson Stadium. I think we, as a staff, looked at it. 7 of our last 8 games, dating back to last year, have been on the road. So it's going to be great to be home and play in front of our fans and kind of get into that home game routine.
We might have to put Adamson Stadium in our GPSs just to make sure we can get back up there, since it's been almost, I think, over 320 some days since the last time.
Well, it's funny, at our team meeting yesterday, I went over how we operated a home game. Obviously, we've got a lot of freshmen this year, and just reminded the veterans of kind of our weekly schedule, what we do pregame, what we do on Friday, what we do on Saturday morning, and it's been so long that we haven't had a chance to really do that.
Well, before we talk about the upcoming home game, let's take a look back and talk about Shippensburg this past Saturday. Beautiful Saturday afternoon for football. Last 2 weekends, been pretty good weather. Last weekend, a little overcast, but this weekend was a perfect autumn football day. And we were talking, me and the crew were talking on the way back. A lot of the guys play video game stuff. It was almost like your team had a cheat code or had some finishers, because there was, after about 5 minutes of the game, it was really clear who the better team was on that day.
We finally put 4 quarters together. I know that, we said it last week, we've played well in spurts and at times in a quarter and a half, but we finally felt in all 3 phases that we played really good football, and we didn't make mistakes. We kind of forced them into mistakes, with the turnovers, and that's kind of who we want to be. We're playing a young group of guys, and I think it finally kind of clicked for us, so hopefully we can keep it going.
And then something else in that game, first you take the kick, you go down, score, make it 7-0, and then force a turnover. One thing for this year, just the way it's gone, there hasn't been too many splash plays. There was splash play after splash play in this game. Once that interception in the first quarter happened, went back for a touchdown, like I said, you could just see the sideline, just kind of the whole personality sideline change right there.
Yeah, and it's something we talked about as a coaching staff, and we kind of preached this week, is we got to start to create turnovers. And going in the first 2 games, we didn't create any, and that's tough to win games when you're not creating turnovers. And our defense did an unbelievable job. 5 interceptions. I know it's got to be close to a school record. Jimmy Pierce is the one that took it back. Lamont McFadder had one. True freshman Jamal Martin had 2, and then Sheed Page-Jones, who's really starting to come on. You can kind of see his practice habits changing. He had 1, and we believe, you get rewarded for your hard work. And for our defense to create 5 turnovers on the road, it obviously gave our entire organization a bump, but really helped the offense out, and it was fun to see.
Well, definitely helped the offense out. That was we're looking at the stats at halftime, very balanced, between run, pass, plays, yardage. It just was a complete game from top to finish. And like I said, look at the halftime stats. I think offensively he had 270 some yards passing the first half, which halfway to a record. Then you look at the rushing yards, over 100 yards rushing at the half. So it's just great balance for an offense.
Yeah, our kids, our players executed really well, and I thought we had a really good plan going into the game. There were some things that they did defensively that we felt like we could match up and exploit a little bit. But the plan really doesn't matter if our student athletes don't execute, and they really executed the game plan well, both in the pass game and the run game. Noah, our quarterback, had a great day, and Nelson, our running back, had a great day. So, we had, I think, 3 receivers close to 100 yards. So we're continuing that mold of spreading the football around a little bit and not being one-dimensional outside in the throw game. Chad Livingston had another big day. Tyson Hill had a big day, and Jordan Danders continues to impress. So, when you got 3 receivers going and your back runs for over 100 yards, your quarterback doesn't turn it over, it's going to be a good day. And,
a lot of that can't happen without the big guys up front. That was probably the most complete game that they've played all year, because, getting running lanes to control the clock, and I don't think Noah Mitchell was under too much stress in the pocket all day. I think he might have been hit one time that wasn't a design quarterback run or a scramble.
Yeah, really proud of the way the guys played up front. I thought going into the game they have 2 of the premier defensive ends in the league, really. They're both returning all-conference type kids. Number 47, their right defensive end, had a heck of a game the week before. I think he had 2 or 3 sacks, got a couple holding calls, created a turnover. So going into the game, I knew that was going to be part of it. We had to protect well, and I thought our tackles did an extremely good job, but also the whole entire offensive line.
I tell you what, it was a big crowd on Saturday. It was their family day, and how satisfying is it as a player and a coach to be able to go out there and pretty much silence a big crowd because they were on their hands. The only sounds pretty much on that home sideline for a good part of that game was the band playing every once in a while. But, I mean, it just almost like the wind was taken out of that sails in front of a big, like I said, family day crowd on the road.
Yeah, we jumped on them early and kind of took that out. But I tell you what, our crowd was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we obviously have a lot of parents that follow us, but we had some administrators that Dr. Bruce Barnhart was in the stands, and a lot of administrators. And then we had some alumni come back from out in that area. So that was good to see. And we finally, like I said, played those 4 quarters and gave our folks something to cheer about the whole game. So, happy with their effort. When I talked to them on Monday, I told them that's kind of the expectations. I told them I'm not proud of you because that's what we expect from you. So we're back to work. Had a good workout good meetings yesterday. Good workout last night under the lights, and we got a big day today. Today's going to be a big day for us.
Well, before we look forward to this upcoming week's opponent, let's put the bow on Shippensburg's game. Let's take a look at the highlights from this past weekend's game at Seth Grove Stadium. And after the break, special little video package since we don't have any highlights from Edinboro last year because it was done by Sports Fever, but Rondino Gaudet did a time lapse of the game with still images from this past Saturday. So enjoy, and you're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Mitchell is back to throw, and he's going to dump this one off quickly to Jordan Dandridge. Once again, Jordan Dandridge makes a couple men miss, and he is in the end zone. Touchdown, Vulcans. He will fake the handoff and go across the middle. And that one's going to be intercepted by California. First interception of the year, rolling around with room to work, and I think he might be off to the races here. We'll see how it plays out. Working 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Vulcans! Here's Noah Mitchell on third down, looking to throw. Quick slant, once again, dragged by the hair, but still getting away is Tyson Hill. Tyson Hill, he is off to the races. Touchdown, Vulcans! Brown's going to receive this football, and he's going to work towards the far sideline. No one to beat here. Two guys getting towards the pylon. Will he tiptoe in? He will. Tiptoe through the tulips. Touchdown, Nelson Brown. Mitchell receives this one. It's going to be a handoff to Nelson Brown. Nelson Brown only has one man to beat, and he's going to take off towards the end zone. Will he make it in? He puts the afterburners on. He is in. Touchdown, Vulcans. Here's Musina now looking towards the middle of the field. Fingertip ball here, and it will be an interception here. Lamont McFadder comes up with the tip drill interception. Noah Mitchell will keep this one and run right up the middle. He will find his way into the end zone on the quarterback keep. Touchdown, Vulcans. You see him with a jump throw here, and we've got another interception on the day. Moving towards the near sideline. One man to beat, it's Musina, putting his head down. Also Brooks with the handoff to Jalen Bell. Jalen Bell towards the far sideline, and he will spin right on into the end zone. Mark it down, another touchdown for the Vulcans.
Saturdays are for the Vulcans. At Ohio Dominican, at Kutztown, at Shippensburg, home versus Edinboro, Coal versus IUP, at Clarion, homecoming versus Gannon, at Mercyhurst, home versus Slippery Rock, at Seton Hill, home versus Westchester. Catch all the action live on CUTV and WCAL.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
California University of Pennsylvania athletics has a long tradition of excellence on the playing field.
In the classroom and in the community.
The Athletics Day of Giving supports excellence in Cal U athletics.
And its success begins with you.
We need your help to reach our fundraising goals in support of athletic scholarship.
Student athletes need your help.
Our student athletes have a higher academic success rate than the national average.
More than half of our student athletes have a GPA of 3.0 or higher.
Our student athletes are constantly recognized as successful in our conference and at the national level.
Help us help our student athletes.
Your gift will make a difference in the lives of student athletes as they work hard in the game and in the classroom.
Join us today, September 25th, for our Athletics Day of Giving.
Every gift counts. Visit www.calu.edu/athletics-give to make your gift.
Cal U.
Back to the Gary Dunn Show right here on CTV. Thanks, Dylan Goday, for putting together that time lapse of Saturday's game at Shippensburg. But, Coach, like it is in the PSAC, the calendar never stops, so can kind of think about that game and forget about it. Probably. When do you put the Saturday game out of your mind? Is it Saturday as soon as the whistle and start looking at next week, or do you give yourself a little bit of time to?
Sunday about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
You know, we come in as a coaching staff on Sunday morning and watch the game film and you know, figure out what we've got to correct, what we got to do better, and by about 1 o'clock we're done with that, and we're on to breaking down the next opponent. So, you know, the losses stay with you all week, and you get to enjoy the wins for about 24 hours, maybe a little under 24 hours, and then you move on to the next one.
And the next one is Edinboro. Finally, we said at the top of the show, a home game. And Edinboro is a team that's been putting up points so far this year. What have you seen on film that in the scouting so far?
Yeah, really explosive team. I think they've got great balance on offense. They got one of the premier tailbacks in the league. They're rushing for just under 200 yards a game. Throwing the ball extremely well, throwing for probably 260. So, you know, they're right there around 460 yards of total offense. Probably could be more. You know, they were in some blowout games early, so I'm sure they rested some of their starters and played some of their young kids. Very explosive offense, got one of the premier receivers, return guys in the league, got a great tailback, quarterback's managing the game really well. They're explosive offense. I think they're scoring 46 points a game right now, so we're going to have our hands full. Very, very well coached offense. You flip it over to the defense, and experienced group. I think they've got 8 seniors or 8 redshirt juniors, seniors, 4-year kids in the program. Very, very talented on the back end. I think that's probably the strength of their defense, what I see on film. 2 really good corners, 2 really good safeties. They do a lot in the blitz game to apply pressure because they trust those guys on the back end to cover. So, we're going to have our work cut out for us. It's a big rivalry game. The last couple of years we've had success, but they're a program that's on the rise. I think they've won 7 games. First year they won 9. I was here, they won 9. I think and last year they won 7 or 8. So, it's going to be a tough test. Yeah,
and this is a series. You mentioned a rivalry game. A lot of fans might say, "Oh, when's the IUP game? When's the Slippery Rock game?" But if you want to look at like games that are just entertaining, Cal Edinboro has always been an entertaining game. I mean, there's been a couple blowouts, one or the other through the years, but last couple years, a lot of points have been scored. Defensive stops at the end for California last year, and then the year before, I know we handled them pretty good here. But it's a rivalry game that you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's this league. I think every team in the West is a rivalry game. You've been playing them for so long. I can remember the days back when we played Edinboro. It's just fun to be in this league. Because again, I've said it before. You recruit the same players. Your coaching staffs know each other because you're out on the road recruiting the same guys. So it's a great league, but it's going to be a tough test. I'm glad that we're at home. I think it's going to be good for us to spend some time at home. When you have to get on the road on Fridays, your kids really never get any downtime. Your players, your student athletes never really get any time just to relax. So I think this is well needed for us. To have a little bit of time to relax on Friday, not have to worry about getting on a bus and traveling a few hours. Just time to relax and allow them to be just students on Friday.
And also, it's the first PSAC West divisional game, so that probably adds a little bit of luster to it because, no matter what happens in the first 3 games, 90% of the season rides on your divisional play because that's what determines, things later in the season. Do you feel it as a coach, or do you feel it with the team that, now they know that, hey, this is a divisional game?
Yeah, sure. Everything's amped up a little bit when you get into PSAC West play. We try and treat every game as a 1-game schedule, but our guys know. Our guys know this is the first game in the West, and I think they're excited. Like I said, we had a great workout last night. I expect, we got special teams meetings here in a few minutes, and I expect us to be excited to get back and play at home and open the West schedule.
And before we can focus all eyes on the West schedule, let's take a look back at the last week's scores in the PSAC crossover. We mentioned, obviously, California 57-14. A lot of high-scoring games in the crossover play this week. Most of the games were played in the West, but we were, I think, one of only 2 games that were played out East. Edinboro over East Stroudsburg 49-24. That was at Edinboro. Kutztown and Gannon in a shootout. Kutztown coming back late. They were down in that game for about 3.5 or 2.5 quarters to beat Gannon 48-33 up in Erie. IUP over Lock Haven 59-19. Moving on to the other 4 games. Actually, there were 4 games. One was a non-conference game. Mercer holding serve at home against Bloomsburg 14-10. Clarion at home beating Lincoln 44-7. That was the only non-crossover game. Westchester over Seton Hill 59-14 in Greensburg, and then Slippery Rock over Millersville 57-10. Now let's take a look at the PSAC standings after the 3rd week. Even though there's no divisional standings, we can see what's going on overall. Edinboro, IUP, Clarion, Slippery Rock, Kyle, Mercer, Gannon, and Seton Hill. But that middle column, that's all going to change, and that's where the bread and butter is made, right there. The divisionals.
I think it's interesting to see the non-conference opponents that everybody plays, and then obviously it's exciting to once you get into the crossover, but really it's all about the West, and these next how many ever weeks are going to determine where you stand, and we're excited to get it rolling.
And let's take a look at very quickly over the PSAC East. Kutztown and Westchester undefeated. Shippensburg was handed their first loss, courtesy of your team this past Saturday. Then Bloom, East Stroudsburg, Lock Haven, and Millersville. Let's take a look at the PSAC schedule this week. There's a full slate of games, divisional play, and a lot of different times on the ledger. So if you're a fan of PSAC football, you can pretty much go from noon until 9 o'clock at night watching games. Start of the day is Millersville at Westchester noon. Then the 2 1 o'clock games, California, Edinboro, and then Gannon at Clarion. Lock Haven at East Stroudsburg, Mercer at Indiana. At 4 o'clock, Shippensburg, Bloom, Seton Hill at Slippery Rock, and then Kutztown has the open date this week. Coach, if you're a football fan other than the Edinboro, California game, what game would you kind of circle if you were a fan and wanted to point someone in the direction of entertaining game.
The Mercyhurst at Indiana game. You know, I've got a lot of respect for the Mercyhurst coaching staff. They do a great job. Obviously, Indiana's got it rolling right now, so that's the one. And then that Bloomsburg and Shippensburg game is going to be a battle. Two very similar teams. We're actually watching Bloomsburg right now, their game against Edinboro. So they've got a good club, and those are the two, other than the Cal U Edinboro game that we're excited about.
And that's the one everyone should be excited about. And since it's finally a home game, there's no excuse not to go to Adamson Stadium. 1 o'clock will be the kickoff. Coach has assured me it's going to be about 65 degrees and sunny. No wind, no chance of rain.
Looks like great weather, right?
Perfect football weather.
Perfect come out, get the students out there tailgating a little bit, come out and watch the football, the Vulcans, and support us. We appreciate it.
And I'm very excited to see the tailgate because, like you said, fan support on the road has been tremendous at Shippensburg, and we pulled in on Saturday. You know, I probably counted 5 different parking lots with 5 different Cal U tailgates, so I can't imagine see what it's going to be like Saturday at Adamson Stadium. It's going to be nice to see those grills and flags going.
Yeah, our parents are doing a great job tailgating. The last couple of weeks, we've had to hustle them out of the parent tailgates to get on the bus so we can get home. I'm going to have to talk to some parents about maybe shutting that tailgate down a little bit early. Those guys go over and eat after the game, and then we give them a post-game meal too. So we got to do it a little bit quicker, I guess. But we're excited. You know, anytime we can come back home and play, and it's going to be great weather. You know, we want the students out. We want your support, and you know, it should be exciting.
And that game, as mentioned, is 1 o'clock at Adamson Stadium. If for some reason you can't be there, if you have a doctor's note,
no excuses.
Okay, coach says no excuses, so be there at Adamson Stadium. But a side note, we'll be on the PSAC network. CUTV will have the feed, and then WCAL will be on its app. You can download that on Radio FX and listen wherever you can get internet service. But as Coach said, there's
Family Day as well. A lot of programs.
There's a lot going on. Yeah,
a lot going on campus. But you know, have your parents come, and brothers, sisters, bring everybody with you.
Yep, make sure you wear red and black because all the support and all the noise can get us appreciated. And Coach, good luck this week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. And yeah, like I said, hopefully it'll be a beautiful day on Saturday.
Appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
So that for Coach Dunn, I'm Gary Smith. You've been watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV. We'll see you Saturday at Adamson Stadium.